Tower of God boasts one of the most impressive character rosters out of any series that I have ever read. Whether we're talking about the main character going through a spectacular character arc, the deuteragonists, specifically Kun and Rak, playing their roles nearly perfectly, or the mysterious antagonists, there is absolutely no shortage of amazing characters. But there is one character in particular that stood out to me throughout the later portions of the Nest arc, and that is Lopopia Traumerei. Traumerei, being a family head, is one of those characters with an incredibly strong presence, stealing everyone's attention in every single panel that he's in. But as for the quality of his character, it has been quite divisive amongst the community. In this video, I intend on exploring every facet of the character to hopefully give you guys a little bit of a new perspective on Traumerei and the role he could play moving forward. So right off the bat, I wanted to talk about Traumerei's relationship with Jihad. It's pretty safe to say that Traumerei is very pro-Jihad. If that isn't made clear through his family's actions and his position as an antagonist in the series, we can clearly see it in his dialogue, such as him implying that he felt betrayed by V, and that if Jihad had a clear opinion on how to deal with Bomb, he would have followed that order. But because of this, people tend to simply slot Traumerei in the pro-Jihad category without thinking too hard about it, but there actually are some arguments for Traumerei being anti-Jihad, but it's mostly just headcanon and theory, so we'll save that for a little later. But for now, how does Traumerei's loyalty to Jihad affect his character? Well, to answer that, we first need to discuss how Traumerei views loyalty. Traumerei's character throughout the entirety of the flashback arc was based around Wang Wang's loyalty. Keep in mind, the entire reason why Traumerei rescued Wang Wang from the workshop is because Wang Wang possessed the Fang, but that pretty much felt irrelevant after a while because of how much focus was placed on Wang Wang's loyalty. While some may argue Traumerei never cared about Wang Wang at all, I actually argue the opposite. I think he cared way too much. Somebody who Traumerei had initially seen as simply useful had become someone that he had developed a fascination with. SIU pretty much wrote a character who embodies loyalty in Wang Wang and gave him to Traumerei, a character with severe trust issues and an abandonment complex. And being the insecure man that he is, Traumerei put everything into testing the depth of Wang Wang's loyalty, even going as far as to force him to undergo the most powerful and influential force in existence: love. And when Wang Wang eventually bared his teeth at Traumerei, he was genuinely hurt and disappointed, as he had a glimmer of hope that he had finally found someone with true unbreakable loyalty. Traumerei is someone who has millions of people who would do anything he asks at his command. He is someone who not only has that power, but regularly abuses it for his own enjoyment. But this twisted hobby is really just him being insecure. Although millions would obey his every command, not a single person does it because they truly love him. They do it out of fear, or to win his favor for status, etc. And if Traumerei does find someone that genuinely cares about him, being Wang Wang and potentially even V, they never even give him the 100% loyalty he desires. So that's pretty much the foundation of the theme of loyalty that SIU has established with the character. So now that I went over that, I can branch out into other interpretations and some more headcanon-y predictions as well. So what does this have to do with Jihad? Well, perhaps Traumerei wants to find someone who is as loyal to him as he is to Jihad. It could be his personal insecurity stemming from his own loyalty and wanting to find someone like that for himself. Alternatively, Traumerei could simply be jealous of Jihad standing at the top, and it could be a situation where he knows that everyone serves Jihad out of fear, and he wants to quote-unquote surpass Jihad by finding someone who serves him out of true loyalty. These connections are admittedly long shots, and I'm probably looking way too much into it, but I would love to know what you guys think of the connection between Jihad and Traumerei's obsession with loyalty. On the other hand, Kalki from my Discord server actually gave a really interesting interpretation on Traumerei's character, in that he thinks Traumerei actually never cared about Wang Wang's loyalty in the first place. Traumerei just wants to break him as brutally as possible. According to Kalki, Traumerei gives Wang Wang and Yasracha power, hope, and recognition just to take it all away. He aims to destroy a person mentally to the point where only a hollow shell remains, a shell who will never love, rebel, or betray. And that is what Traumerei intends to do with Bomb, which is why he is allowing things like Jinsung surviving and Bomb himself entering the tournament to give him the hopes of salvation before just taking it away from him. Now, while I absolutely love this idea, I do think that it's rather unlikely, and that loyalty itself is what Traumerei truly cares about. One of my main reasonings for thinking this is because if Traumerei only wanted to break Wang Wang and didn't want to test his loyalty, it would make no sense for Traumerei to say that he can't bring himself to kill Wang Wang, and then proceed to force Yasracha to do it. Remember that Traumerei forcing Yasracha to kill Wang Wang was actually an act of kindness to Wang Wang, as that is exactly how he wanted to die. Alright, so I wanted to kind of break away from the loyalty discussion and go in the opposite direction and talk about why Traumerei may be anti-jihad. Now remember, as I said earlier, this is more headcanon and predictions, so don't take this as like, concrete or anything. So first of all, Traumerei saying that he felt betrayed by V implies that he most likely really loved V as a person, which could imply that Traumerei did not get along very well with jihad. This personality conflict may have forced Traumerei to act pro-jihad on the surface, just so that jihad doesn't kill him or something crazy like that. Also, keep in mind that the hybrider was given to Yazracha specifically by Jihad, which is actually really crazy. Why would he give this to Yazracha unless he knew that Yazracha would betray Traumerei and wanted to empower him? Additionally, there is also the chance that Jihad requested the creation of the Fangs in the first place in order to overpower Traumerei's control ability, and then he gave the hybrider to Yazracha after the fact since he possessed the Fangs. The reason why Jihad would be going against Traumerei in such a secretive and seemingly inefficient way is because Traumerei and his family support Jihad so much that if he killed him, it would probably make the other family heads feel like he would do that to them too. I mean, you could even bring up Traumerei's memory altering and say that maybe he removes the memories that show the true evil of Jihad and the families just so that he can remain loyal to them, which is why Leviathan hates Traumerei so much for forcing him to endure those memories. I personally really love the idea of Traumerei and Jihad not getting along, and Traumerei using his family and his obedience to pretty much ensure his survival, and Jihad trying to kill him using unorthodox methods. Like, I just think that's sick, but honestly, again, this is very unlikely. It's just a little theory that I thought would be fun to include in the video. Speaking of Traumerei's memories though, this is a huge deal. The fact that he can alter his own memories definitely raises a ton of questions. Like, what memories does Traumerei remove? You guys remember that one episode of Rick and Morty where it's revealed that they have to wipe their memories so they don't go crazy from all the insane stuff that they see? What if Traumerei is simply removing horrors for his own sanity? Does he alter his mind to remain pro-jihad, or maybe to remain indifferent? Does he want Bomb to see those memories, or is that just an unintended consequence of allowing Bomb to gain Leviathan's power? We truly don't know, and I do think that the element of mystery regarding his memories is one of the better parts of Traumerei's character. Another aspect of Traumerei's character I wanted to discuss is his indifference. Now, I do think that this is a good theme, but with questionable execution. It is definitely fitting for a family head, and I genuinely think that at least one, if not every single family head, has to have this trait to at least some capacity. It's honestly very realistic. These family heads are all immortal, and they pretty much have infinite power, wealth, fame, pleasure, etc. So it genuinely makes sense why someone like Traumerei would grow numb to life. Us humans have concepts such as scarcity and suffering that truly give value and meaning to every happy moment in our life. Me personally, I find genuine joy in doing things such as interacting with my small YouTube community, going to the gym, stuff like that. Now imagine if I was as famous and powerful as Traumerei. Would I find joy in going online and replying to a dozen comments and then going out and working out? Absolutely not. That wouldn't even be something I would consider in my life, right? Keep in mind, this dude Traumerei has canonically banged the mother of every single one of these Lopobia chicks you guys simp for. Like, I'm not even joking. I'm not even trolling you yet. It's actually canon, right? Like, that's confirmed. Like, it's not even a joke. So this dude has actually had infinitely everything you could ask for, right? So it does make sense why over time he would stop caring and kind of grow numb to life. In a life like that, everything sort of begins to lose its value, right? It's why celebrities in real life unfortunately commit suicide or abuse drugs. And I honestly like how this is implemented within Tower of God and how SIU doesn't really shove it down our throats. Honestly, it's a solid approach to the lazy badass trope, and I do think that it has a lot of potential. But as I said earlier, the execution has been questionable. Overall, it isn't really shown in the best of ways, especially since we haven't really been exposed enough to Traumerei's indifferent nature beforehand for his interest in Bomb or even Wang Wang to stick out. His indifference should have been established beforehand, right? Even something as simple as a statement quantifying exactly how long Traumerei has been in his chair without moving, or just something like that, right? I'm okay with Traumerei sitting in his chair and doing nothing. I'm even okay with him taking a ton of disrespect. Like, me personally, I would not take that level of disrespect from somebody that looks like that, all right? That's just me personally. It looks like SIU was choking on a pistachio shell and dying and drew Bomb with his last dying breath or something like that, but anyways, the one thing that bothered me was Traumerei saying that he would make the entire nest disappear if anyone spoke a word, and then simply not doing it. I think that Traumerei's threat as an antagonist and his weight as a family head has largely been taken out as a result of this. As I said earlier, the indifference makes sense, but if he's going to be so indifferent that he can't even back up his own words, then I question the choice of making his indifference so prevalent. If the theme of indifference was handled better and just overall portrayed a little differently, I do think Traumerei's character would be nearly flawless. Now, I did touch on Traumerei's human-like personality briefly, but I have someone who can analyze his humanity a whole lot better.
I think personally one of the more interesting aspects of Traumerei is the fact that he's presented as a family head, and it's pretty natural to think that like family heads are these overarching gods of the Tower of God universe. You look at Gustang, you look at Jihad, right? These people who, the 13 warriors who entered the tower, they have this presence. But Traumerei is a bit different in my head because we've had a couple scenes that really add to his humanity, right? With Gustang, I mean, his introduction, or his real introduction on the floor of death, is him saying a bug is a bug to Joaquin, right? But with Traumerei, even though we get a similar introduction, he feels different. He wants to hide away from the light, right? He says, oh, it's too bright, and he kind of darkens the area. And then later on, we learn that he apparently fed Leviathan his memories, and that kind of connects to something that he told, I think it was Keating in one of the Wong Wong and Yasracha flashbacks. He says something along the lines of, he was hurt once before, and he doesn't want to be again. And in some way, you can't help but wonder, like, who's he talking about, right? And is it connected to the memories he didn't want to have anymore? Or, like, what's the significance of feeding Leviathan his memories? I think the biggest scene that really adds to his humanity, in my opinion, is, I think it's one of the last chapters, maybe the last chapter of the series, one of the last ones. And he's talking to Keating, and they're talking, and Keating says, oh, was this, like, all a part of your plan, right? Like, the Irregular and Leviathan, and does this all line up? And then Leviathan, Traumerei says, Keating, I'm tired. You know, and it's just like this, I don't know, to me it's like we see these family heads as not caring about anybody else, but the relationship between Traumerei and Keating, to me, is more human than I would expect from a family head. It's like, in a way, he's obviously hiding his true intentions still, or doesn't want to say, but it's in a way that's very human, right? Like, Traumerei to me isn't just a typical family head. I don't know. And, but it all connects down ultimately and boils down to what are the memories about? What's going on with Leviathan? And I honestly don't know. We know that Bomb probably knows, which is like super interesting. Like, why would Bomb know? What's the significance of that? My theory was always that the people who hurt Traumerei in the past were V and Arlen, because we know the 13 warriors were very close. They were very tight in the past. But then the Great War happened, and the family heads, they all fought, and more specifically, V and Arlen, along with Fug, they fought against the Jihad and the other family heads, and they lost. You know, it didn't go well for Arlen and V, but I feel like that kind of betrayal would have been very impactful to Traumerei, and not in a good way. It would have scarred him, I would imagine. Traumerei also has this weird, the way he dresses, he wears these large coats and the big old bed, and he likes to kind of hide away, right, and kind of curl up. He gives me vibes of, like, when he was traveling with the family heads, I could almost imagine him being like the little brother of the group, right? Maybe like the kid who his clothes never fit, right? He was always wearing the long sleeve shirts, and I feel like he would have been one of the younger members of the 10 Great Warriors, and in a way that would line up with him feeling betrayed, like almost like his older siblings or parental figures would have betrayed him. That's pretty traumatizing, right? Traumerizing. Oh, I'm so good. I don't know. That's my only thought about it. And the fact that he was so hurt by this, that he would have fed Leviathan those memories, I can see it, man. He desperately wants to be rid of them. He desperately is like hanging on to maybe the almost ignorance that he had before that happened. It's weird though, because it's like, okay, so then does he not remember? He doesn't have any memory of them anymore? Or was there like one specific or a couple specific memories that were like worse than the others? And if Leviathan told Bomb, what is Bomb's reaction to that? I mean, those are his parents, right? But it's the only thing I can think of. We also know that Traumerei does care about the family heads. He calls Hendelock Blood Matter his friend. When Hans Song says, like, I have the fragment, or I am a fragment, or there's some kind of connection there, and he says, oh, he's the one my friend is looking for. Almost assuredly, Hendelock Blood Matter. So we already know that Traumerei cares about the other family heads to some extent, or some of them. So it's not really a stretch to say that, like, when V and Arlen betrayed the others, that would come as a big blow to him. Other than that, Not really sure.
So now that we have an understanding of how SIU paints Traumerei as a human being, we can talk about the similarities between how SIU has set up Traumerei and Bomb and how they counter each other. So right off the bat, let's start out with key differences. If you've watched all my other character analysis videos, you probably know what I'm going to bring up, and that is the theme of involuntary sacrifice. I'd highly recommend watching my other character analysis videos on White, Rachel, and Colovan if you want like a full explanation on how this connects to all the other antagonists. But basically, one of Bomb's main themes is voluntary sacrifice. Everyone genuinely loves Bomb and wants to sacrifice themselves for him, and this is the main thing that separates Bomb from the antagonists. White represents the involuntary sacrifice of others by eating their souls against their will and sacrificing them to power himself up. Rachel also represents involuntary sacrifice of others by tricking them and trying to force them to carry her up the tower. And of course, Traumerei also represents the involuntary sacrifice through fear and literal mind manipulation. And even more than that, Traumerei makes people sacrifice other people for the sake of him as well, and sometimes even in the cruelest of ways, such as Wang Wang having to sacrifice his relationship with Nen Nen. I love how SIU constantly incorporates this theme into every antagonist and how it contrasts Bomb. Another way that Traumerei contrasts Bomb is how he doesn't see anyone as an equal. This is more family heads in general than just Traumerei specifically, but what separates Bomb, and I guess Yurik by extension, right, from the other irregulars is that they see everyone around them as human, rather than seeing regulars as bugs or creatures. These views cause Traumerei to feel lonely, whereas Bomb is never lonely since everyone voluntarily serves him, and he sees those who help him as actual human beings deserving of respect. While Traumerei is lonely, lazy, and unmotivated, he does share one thing in common with Bomb, and that is having irregular tier power / potential. And this actually leads me to another point, and that is tackling the question, why is Traumerei so interested in Bomb? Well, tying into the whole irregular potential thing, the easy answer, and what Traumerei himself actually states, is that Bomb has the potential as an irregular to be family head level, and once Bomb develops, having Bomb in his family would make the Lopobia family the strongest. It's fairly simple, right? But what if there was more to it than that? What if Traumerei sees himself in Bomb and genuinely wants to, I don't know, father him? It's been a lot in my comments lately. I just want to include that a little bit. I don't think that it sounds weird, but it is a genuine possibility, I guess. What if we go down the anti-Jihad path yet again, and Traumerei wants to cultivate a weapon to kill Jihad, but without openly supporting Thug, and he wants to do it himself, Are these things likely? No. But it's Lopobia Traumerei, man. As of now, his true intentions are unknown. But we can speculate, as I have just done, and for that, I will leave you with Dr. Bonehead one more time.
His overall intentions are obviously to get Bomb on his side. I mean, I think we overestimate, or we underestimate the significance of having 2 irregulars in your family, because every other family has only one. Even including Jihad, right? Jihad's family or empire only has really the one irregular, himself. I think. I'm trying to think, other than, Adori, who's kind of like irregular powered, but she's still not an irregular, even if she's up there in that echelon. But every family, Yan family, Ha family, Kun family, they only have the one irregular. So Traumerei having Bomb in his family, like Lopobia Bomb, would be insane for the Lopobia family. It would change everything. It would change the scope of everything. Because irregulars are not only obviously powerful, but they're able to ignore the laws of the tower, break spells, they can probably kill the family heads. So that's a big deal, right? And I think that Traumerei knows that and understands, if I have him, I'm suddenly like top tier family. He's suddenly higher than the REA family in terms of importance. I think that's not even a stretch to say. I mean, having Traumerei and Bomb on the family is huge. So he wants to, well, and I think too it's connected to the memories, because we know that Keating kind of hints all of this was Traumerei's plan. Like, he knew that Bomb would absorb Leviathan. Not sure how, because that's connected to Mashini, and it's who freaking knows. But I feel like he wants maybe 2 things, right? He wants Bomb in his family, no matter what, and he's very confident that Bomb will lose the tournament and join his family. But he also really desires something with Leviathan. Leviathan might be the only creature that he couldn't tame. Similar to Wang Wang, right? There's some kind of like connection there. And perhaps if Bomb absorbs Leviathan and he can tame Bomb, that's in some way like conquering his fears. I'm not really sure, because we also know when Traumerei visited Leviathan, it's hinted that he visited Leviathan, he clutches his chest and he says, I haven't felt fear like that in a long time, or something. Maybe he even like resaw his memories, but there could be something, like maybe Traumerei isn't scared of Leviathan per se, but he's afraid of the fact that he can't control a creature. Like maybe that, for some reason, it like triggers his trauma. Maybe as a kid, there's some kind of like horrible neglect or abuse that happened outside the tower, and like he takes comfort in the fact that he can control things. He's in control, but the moment he's not in control, he has this like overwhelming sensation of just like dread. I don't know, spitballing here. I don't really have any evidence to back that up, but that's where my mind goes when thinking about Traumerei and his overall plan.
Alright, so with all that being said, I wanted to leave you guys with just an interesting little fact, just to emphasize how important Traumerei's memories truly are. According to Raikumo from the Discord server, the name Traumerei is German, meaning dreaming or daydreaming, and Leviathan intends on exposing the secrets of Traumerei's memories through dreams. It's just a little something that I think is overlooked by most, but it is a cool little detail. But overall, discovering the truth behind Traumerei's memories and why he wants Bomb's power, despite not caring about anything else at all, will either make or break this character, and I'm genuinely hopeful that SIU will deliver a fantastic character arc for Traumerei in the near future. And yeah, that's about it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, consider leaving a like, as it helps out the channel tremendously. If you want more Tower of God and other webtoon analysis content, be sure to subscribe. I would love to hit 2,000 by the end of the year. That would be amazing, man. Also, I have my Discord server linked in the description if you're interested. I'm always down to talk to any of you. I love featuring you guys in my videos, man. It makes the channel more of a collaborative experience, which I just love again. Additionally, my Patreon link is in the description as well. Check out the tiers and consider supporting. Any amount truly means the world to me. You can get access to shoutouts and video requests. Special shout out to Gavin, Nicholas, and Remorsefuls for being access and a regular 2 patrons. Also, shout out to Dr.Bonehead for working with me on this video. I'm 100% sure you guys all know who he is, but just in case you've been living under a rock, I've included his channel in the description. And yeah, thank you all for making it to the very end. And I'll see you guys in my next video, which will probably be on like a month, to be honest. Hey, you can't rush quality, you know what I'm saying? All right, peace out.